Are Metro Vancouver developers headed for another condo crisis? According to the new report from Rennie, we could see unsold inventory spike by 60% by the end of 2025. That's not a typo. Thousands of brand new units could be sitting unsold by the end of this year. So what's really going on? My name is Oleg. I'm a local real estate agent here in Vancouver for the last 10 plus years. And in today's video, I'm going to break down what's going on and what does that mean for you as a buyer, as a seller, and as an investor. So here's where this number is coming from. Rennie just released their spring market outlook for the rest of the year. And according to them, currently on the market, we have about 2,100 unsold completed units on the market right now. With absorption rates as they currently are, we will see this number spike up to 3,500 completed and unsold units. In other words, 60% jump. So what's going on? What's causing this number to be so high? Well, there are some obvious and some less obvious reasons. First of all, let's talk about some of the obvious reasons. Number one, higher borrowing costs over the last few years. Currently, the interest rates are slowly coming down. The Bank of Canada decided to hold the interest rates during the last meeting, but in general, the trend is downwards. However, for the last few years, we did have pretty high interest rates, which didn't inspire a lot of confidence into investors. That's actually the second reason behind this slowdown. Investor confidence has really gone down. If we look at the numbers provided by Rennie, we can see that the number of investors investing into the real estate market, especially for the pre-sale condos, has dropped to about 26% in 2024. From around 50% in 2021, 2022, and 2023. That number is also expected to be much lower in 2025. The next reason behind the slowdown are the policy changes. First of all, the ban of short-term rentals, and the announced changes to the capital gains tax. Now it looks like some of those changes might be walked back. However, the damage has been done. Another reason behind the slowdown in the pre-construction sales is, of course, the lack of consumer confidence due to the tariff war with United States of America. That's not only affecting the pre-construction industry, it's also affecting the resale industry. We can see that the market is much slower, and that is playing a pretty major role. The consumer confidence is simply not there. However, there are a couple of other less so obvious reasons why we see such a large buildup of inventory. Number one, we saw a record number of housing starts in 2022, 2023. And now, 2024, 2025, 2026, we will see a lot of these housing starts come to fruition. A lot of the projects started 2-3 years ago are now going to be built. And of course, all of them will hit the market, which increases the overall supply. The other less obvious reason is something that developers ironically were fighting for, and now it's causing them a lot of hardship. I'm talking about the change to the Real Estate Development Marketing Act that took place in fall 2024. Prior to this change, the developers had to sell out 70% of the building within 12 months in order to secure financing. Now, with this new change, that number has gone up to 18 months, essentially giving them another 6 months to sell these units due to the economic conditions and the slowdown in the real estate industry. So on one hand, this is helping them secure this financing because it gives them more time to sell units. On the other hand, it creates a situation where leftover unsold buildings are still remaining on the market because now the timeline is 18 months. However, new buildings constantly enter the market as they're being built, and that created this sort of double-edged sword where on one hand it is helping the developers, on the other hand it's not helping the developers because it just creates more inventory on the market. And as I stated in the beginning of this video, with the current absorption rates, in other words how many units actually get sold every month, we will see a lot more unsold inventory on the market at the end of 2025. Now note, all of this is just a prediction, right? We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but it's good to sort of read reports like this and be prepared for the future. Which brings us to the next point. What does that mean for us? Well, it all depends on whether you're a buyer, a seller, or an investor. If you're a buyer, this is actually pretty good news because you have more inventory choices. And if you're especially looking for condos, maybe not even brand new condos, maybe not new construction necessarily, it will still have an effect on the greater market. The more inventory there is on the market, generally speaking, the better it is for the buyers. Not only do you have more pressure on the prices are more likely to go down, you also have more choices and more negotiating power. If you are a seller in this market, this is probably not the best news, especially if you own one of the newer condos and you're looking to sell it. You have to be competitive with your pricing. You have to know the current market conditions and current market pricing. You can't look at the prices from 2-3 years ago, as a lot of sellers unfortunately like to focus on. They like to say, well, the unit next door sold for this much, 2 years ago. Well, that's not good enough. You have to focus on current market conditions and what this unit is worth in today's market with today's competition. And if you're an investor, it's a similar story to being a buyer. You do have a lot more options. Yes, the rents right now look like they will be falling over the next 12 months and going forward. The estimate is somewhere around 4 to 5% less in rent. However, you do have more options in terms of available inventory and you have more negotiating power. So some of that risk with decreasing rental rates can be offset with the better deals that you can negotiate on some of these units. Well, hopefully you can negotiate on some of these units. So that could spell out a pretty good opportunity for the right investor at the right building. Lastly, let's talk about what all of this means for the market moving forward. It's easy to make a video like this and talk about how it's all doom and gloom. And usually when you try to worry people and come from the negative aspect, these type of videos get more views. But I don't think it's actually all doom and gloom if we zoom out and look at the sort of longer term perspective. Because what's happening right now is a lot of developers are starting to focus on purpose-built rental buildings. There are some issues with that, and I actually made a separate video talking about it. I will leave it linked in the description below. But essentially, there will be less focus on for sale units and more focus on the purpose-built rentals moving forward, at least for the next couple of years, because the financing for these type of buildings is easier and also seems like it is at the moment a bit of a safer bet. On top of that, the housing starts have been down in 2025, which means projecting that forward 2027, 2028, 2029. I know it sounds like it's very far off, but it's not that far. We will see this number sort of balance out. We will start seeing some of the shortages in purpose-built for sale units, and thus the market will balance out. So in a short-term perspective, this could present some great opportunities for the buyers. In a long-term perspective, this will balance out because the market speaks for itself. And I'll try to keep you updated with any changes and any updates in the real estate industry here in Vancouver. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss those videos when they do come out. Also, I appreciate you watching this video all the way until the end. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and feel free to contact me for any of your real estate needs here in Greater Vancouver, whether you're looking to buy, sell, or you just need some advice. My information will be linked below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.